On C News, 26th of July 2023. Panel: China is taking a tough stance on military flybys and freedom of navigation operations. China currently illegally holds a large number of built-up islands and reefs. Southern China Sea. I'm calling back. According to security experts, there is a very high risk that freedom of navigation activities and military flights over the Western Pacific will mislead Beijing about American objectives in the Indo-Pacific. Josiah Case, a research analyst focusing on China at the Center for Naval Analyses, said at the Brookings Institution on Wednesday that Beijing would view this as our hardline worked. Beijing communicates with the U.S., its friends and partners, and the Chinese people by publicly announcing its intercepts at sea and in the air. According to Case, the Chinese Communist Party is concerned with conveying the right message to its restive people. This message frequently contains commitments to resolutely safeguard China's sovereignty and security, as it did in June when a Chinese vessel cut across the bow of the guided missile destroyer USS Chang'un, DDG-93, as it passed through the Taiwan Strait alongside a Canadian frigate. The Defense Department claimed that the course change, which was captured on film and brought the two vessels within 150 yards of one another, demonstrated that the Chinese were acting in an unsafe manner, and were steadily growing to be a danger to world peace. Several increasingly aggressive maneuvers were performed by a planned warship in 2018 within 45 yards of the USS Decatur, DDG-73. In 2018, the American warship was sailing close to a Chinese artificial island that had just been fortified. It was located in the Spratlys. According to Case, the CCP is bringing back memories of its century of humiliation that ended in 1949 with the Communists seizing power by threatening to evict ships or aircraft from land, it claims. Operations by other countries near China's coastlines are a very, very historically sensitive topic for China, according to Roderick Lee, director of research at the Air University's China Aerospace Studies Institute. As instances the CCP can use to criticize American and other activity at sea or in the air. He mentioned American air reconnaissance missions along the coast in the late 1940s and Taiwan's flying reconnaissance missions from the island to Beijing. According to Lee, China interprets these flights in international airspace near its borders as American reconnaissance operations. Regarding policy, Beijing's opinions haven't stopped American military aircraft in international airspace. We regularly maintain an air presence in the first island chain, he continued, according to Beijing. The message in the intercepts from the sea and the air, according to Case, is that China was exploited and repressed, and those Western powers are still trying to repress its citizens. The CCP deserves to be in charge because it defends the country's illegitimate sovereignty. According to him, the 2023 episodes are not the first time the PLA, People's Liberation Army, has behaved in an unprofessional manner, he stated at the Brookings Institution event. It's challenging to say whether the intercepts have genuinely grown, both parties agreed. Both argued that China's development of a blue water navy, a modern air force, and improved air defense warning systems could account for the rise in U.S. reported incidents. According to Lee, the Chinese intercept an increasingly regular basis. He continued, "We're not seeing the full scope of the intercepts." According to Case, what has changed is that the occurrences are being talked about in the public domain by both sides in a battle for the narrative. The professionalization of pilot training, improved technology, and creation of doctrine for non-military activities are just a few ways that the Chinese have gotten a lot better at conducting the intercepts. According to Lee, Chinese aircraft are required by doctrine to push out the intruder when instructed, using chaff or a maneuver. In 2001, a Chinese fighter and a Navy EP-3 Ares clashed, killing the Chinese pilot and forcing the P-3 to land on Hainan Island. He compared that to the incident in question. The aircraft for signal monitoring was flying 70 miles off the coast of China. He referred to the collision as a pilot error. The ability to speak Chinese more fluently has enabled Beijing to exert more pressure on transits, Li continued. Additionally, they have no immediate need to start direct connections with the American military to stop a situation from escalating. The Chinese think both sides know what the other is doing, according to Li. They think we're good at nonverbal communication in those circumstances. According to Aerospace Corporation's Robin Dickey, a space policy and strategy expert, no clearly defined territory exists in space competition between the United States, China, or anyone else. All countries and all actors are welcome in space. However, Dickey noted that no generally accepted rules of the road provide norms and governance for activity in space. The growing number of actors in the area, including commercial enterprises, is the biggest trend line. There is no direct communication between states to de-escalate conflicts in space, even though it can be happening more and more when debris collides with military or civilian satellites and space stations. Even for the military, Dickey said, it would take a phone call or an email to connect one operator to another. China doesn't answer the phone very often, as with accidents on the water and in the air. He asked how we would de-escalate the hard instances if we can't de-conflict the easy cases. Space debates are complicated because, according to Dickey, you can't know what's in a satellite or whether it uses dual-use technology. She asserted that it was feasible for a maneuverable satellite sent to clear junk to destroy or debilitate another satellite,